My ungrateful family abandoned me in the hotel lobby, never suspecting I was the secret millionaire funding their entire trip. I didn't get angry. I simply went to the front desk while they slept and canceled their paradise. Before continuing, write where you are from or what time it is. My family abandoned me in the hotel lobby, unaware that I had paid for every room. In the night, while they slept, I went to the front desk and canceled it all. But before the cancellation, before the shock, there was the arrival. The air in the arrival hall of the airport hits me like a wet, fragrant blanket. Humidity and plumeria. It is a world away from the crisp, predictable air of my quiet life in Chicago. For a moment, the sheer sensory overload is dizzying. I stand just beyond the sliding glass doors, a quiet 72-year-old woman in a simple linen dress, watching as my family erupts from the terminal like a conquering army. Caroline, my eldest, is already on her phone. Her voice is a sharp, commanding bark as she tries to organize the chaos she has created. At 48, she has appointed herself the matriarch in waiting, a role she performs with the frazzled, self-important air of a battlefield general. Her designer tracksuit, a garish explosion of logos, seems to wilt in the humid air. "Move it, people! The shuttle won't wait for us!" Caroline shouts, snapping her fingers at a porter. Behind her, my son Robert, ever the follower, struggles with two oversized suitcases. His face is already beaded with sweat and etched with a familiar look of stressed indecision. He looks at me, his eyes darting to my small carry-on, but he doesn't move to help. He just grips the handles of his wife's bags tighter. His wife, Jessica, trails behind them all, utterly unconcerned with the luggage or the logistics. Her world is contained within the small, glowing screen of her phone. She pauses dramatically under a palm tree, pouting her lips for a selfie. She is the very picture of a woman who has arrived, not for a family reunion, but for a week-long photo shoot where she is the only star. "Jessica, the light is better over here," she mutters to herself, tilting the screen. The grandchildren, a whirlwind of teenage energy and electronic devices, have already scattered. Their headphones create invisible walls between them and the world, and more importantly, between them and their grandmother. They brush past me like water flowing around a stone. "Mother, for goodness sake, keep up," Caroline snaps, her attention finally shifting from her phone to me. "The shuttle is here. We can't be late." I smile, a soft, tired gesture that doesn't reach my eyes, and quicken my pace. I am a retired software engineer. I spent 40 years of my life in a world of logic, precision, and quiet, solitary creation. I built a company from nothing, sold it for a fortune that my children couldn't even begin to comprehend, and settled into a retirement of comfortable, anonymous peace. They see me as a doddering old woman living on a modest pension and Social Security, a narrative I have never bothered to correct. They think my world is small, my means limited. They have no idea that I could buy and sell this entire airport without blinking. We pile into the resort shuttle. It is a microcosm of our family dynamic. Caroline issues a running commentary of complaints, the traffic, the heat, the driver's perceived lack of urgency. Jessica airdrops the best of her airport selfies to Robert, demanding he post them to her social media with just the right caption. The teenagers remain lost in their digital silos. I sit by the window, watching the lush green landscape of the island slide by. I am a silent observer in a play where I am supposedly a leading character, but in which I have been given no lines. "Robert, did you tip the porter?" Caroline asks sharply from the front seat. I think so," Robert stammers. "You think so? Honestly, Robert." She rolls her eyes. We arrive at the Azure Horizon Resort, a place nestled between a lush tropical reserve and the tranquil turquoise waters of the Pacific. The lobby is a breathtaking open-air pavilion of dark koa wood and soaring ceilings designed to blend seamlessly with the natural world. The air smells of salt, plumeria, and money. It is a place of profound peace and staggering luxury. My family, however, brings their chaos with them. They swarm the check-in desk, a loud, demanding flock of tourists. Caroline is already arguing with the concierge about the view from her room. Jessica is trying to take a panoramic photo of the lobby, sighing with dramatic frustration when other guests walk through her shot. Mother, just go sit over there, Caroline says, waving a dismissive hand in the direction of a cluster of plush, oversized couches. We'll handle this. Just wait for us there. I don't argue. I'm tired. The long flight has settled deep in my bones. The emotional exhaustion of being surrounded by my loving, oblivious family is more draining than any physical journey. I make my way to the couch, my small practical suitcase rolling quietly behind me. I sit down, sinking into the soft cushions, and I watch them. I watch as they are handed their key cards, their faces lighting up with greedy anticipation. I watch as they gather their mountain of luggage, not a single one of them glancing in my direction to see if I need help. I watch as Caroline, the great organizer, herds them all toward the elevators. Right, everyone, she calls out, her voice echoing in the grand lobby. Let's go straight to the infinity pool. I'm not wasting another minute of this vacation. We'll sort out Mother's room later. And then they are gone. The entire noisy, chaotic, self-absorbed flock of them turns and walks away. They disappear into the gleaming brass elevators, their laughter and loud chatter fading as the doors slide shut. They leave me sitting there, a 72-year-old woman, alone in the middle of a busy hotel lobby on a Hawaiian island with my suitcase at my feet. They have abandoned me without a second thought. I sit there for a long moment. The silence they leave behind rings in my ears. Other guests, the hotel staff, they all move around me, a swirling vortex of activity. I am an island of stillness in the middle of it all, a small, sad, forgotten island. A flicker of deep, profound pain goes through me. The sharp, familiar sting of being unseen by the very people who are supposed to see me most clearly. But then, another feeling begins to surface. Something quieter and much, much stronger. My quiet disappointment, the gentle sadness I had felt for years, begins to curdle, to harden into something else. Something cold, clear, and resolute. I watch the elevator numbers climb. Floor 5, floor 6, floor 7. I stand up. I do not pick up my suitcase. I leave it by the couch. I know it will be perfectly safe. I walk not toward the main check-in desk, where my family caused such a scene, but toward a discreet, unmarked door, tucked away in an alcove behind a magnificent display of orchids. It is a door that blends seamlessly into the dark koa wood of the wall, designed to be invisible to most guests. I press a small, nearly hidden button beside the frame. A moment later, the door opens silently. A woman in a sharp, tailored suit smiles warmly at me. Good afternoon, Madame Eleanor. We've been expecting you. I step through the hidden door, and the chaos of the lobby vanishes. This is the private VIP concierge lounge. A quiet, opulent sanctuary of soft lighting, plush carpets, and the hushed, reverential air of a private club. The air is cool and smells faintly of gardenia and ginger. The hotel's general manager, a distinguished man of Japanese descent named Mr. Sato, immediately rises from behind his large polished desk and comes toward me. His hands are clasped in a gesture of deep respect. He gives a slight, deferential bow. Madame Eleanor, he says, his voice a low, smooth baritone. Aloha, and welcome back to the Azure Horizon. It is, as always, an absolute honor to have you with us. It's good to be back, Kenji. I say, a genuine smile touching my lips for the first time that day, though the arrival was a bit more chaotic than usual. Indeed, he says. His expression is a perfect mask of professional discretion, though I see a flicker of sympathy in his eyes. He likely witnessed the entire scene in the lobby via the security feed. We have your suite ready for you, the presidential suite as you requested. Your personal luggage has already been taken up. Thank you, I say. Now, about my family. He leads me to his desk and turns a large monitor toward me. It shows a diagram of the resort's private north wing, a series of interconnected suites, all with private lanais and ocean views, are highlighted in green. The entire wing has been prepared for your family, just as you instructed, he confirms. 7 suites in total. They have been checked in. All charges, accommodations, meals, spa services, activities are being directed to your master account. Everything has been prepaid in full. I look at the diagram. I look at the 7 green boxes that represent the extravagant 5-star vacation I am providing for the family who just left me, sitting on a couch like lost luggage. The sheer, breathtaking irony of it all is not lost on me. They are living in a world of boundless, complimentary luxury, completely unaware of the identity of their mysterious benefactor. They think this is their due, a perk of their own imagined importance, or perhaps a gift from Robert, who they assume has finally made a big bonus. They would never, in their wildest dreams, suspect that their slow, forgotten mother, the woman they assume is living on a shoestring, is the one footing the bill for their entire opulent fantasy. And the yacht, Kenji? I ask. The Serafina is fully provisioned and ready for your family's full-day excursion tomorrow, he says. The captain and crew are on standby. The private chef has confirmed the menu you selected. I nod slowly. A plan begins to form in the back of my mind. A vague, unformed thing, born of deep and sudden weariness. I had planned this trip as a gift, a final grand gesture of a mother's love, a chance to bring us all together in a place of beauty and peace. I had envisioned laughter, connection, the healing of old unspoken wounds. But now, seeing their casual cruelty, their blatant disregard, I realize the folly of my hope. You cannot give a gift to people who feel entitled to it. You cannot offer connection to those who refuse to see you. Kenji, I say, my voice quiet but firm, I need you to do something for me. I need you to keep a discreet record of all the charges my family makes to their rooms. Every drink, every spa treatment, every souvenir. I want an itemized list. Of course, Madame Eleanor, he says without a flicker of surprise. He is the consummate professional. He knows his clients, and he understands that the wealthy often have complicated family dynamics. For now, I say, a wave of exhaustion washing over me, I just like to go to my room. Of course, he says. He personally escorts me to a private elevator. The elevator whisks me upward, bypassing the floors where my family is currently fighting over the best bedrooms. I arrive at the penthouse level. The presidential suite is magnificent. A sprawling sanctuary of quiet elegance with a panoramic view of the turquoise Pacific. My personal luggage, the bags I had shipped ahead, not the decoy suitcase I dragged through the airport, is already neatly unpacked in the vast walk-in closet. A bottle of chilled champagne sits waiting on the coffee table next to a bowl of exotic fruit. It is a palace, and it is all mine. I walk out onto the massive private lanai. The warm sea breeze is a gentle caress on my tired face. I feel a profound sense of peace, a quiet joy in my own solitude. But I can't stay here. Not yet. I have to see them. I have to see exactly what I have purchased with my silence. I leave the suite and walk down the corridor toward the north wing. The carpet is thick, swallowing the sound of my footsteps. I turn the corner and see my son, Robert, emerging from one of the suites. He is holding an empty ice bucket, looking lost. Robert, I say softly. He jumps, nearly dropping the bucket. He turns, his face flushing. Mom, how did you get up here? We thought you were still in the lobby. I found my way, I say. I wait. I wait for him to ask if I'm okay. I wait for him to ask where my room is. I wait for him to apologize for leaving me. Listen, Mom, he says, shifting his weight. Caroline is really stressed. The rooms aren't exactly right, and Jessica is freaking out about the humidity frizzing her hair. Maybe you should just lay low for a bit? We'll come find you for dinner. He doesn't ask where I'm staying. He doesn't offer to walk me to my room. From inside the suite behind him, a sharp whistle cuts the air. It's Jessica. Robert, ice, now. He flinches. I gotta go, he mutters. He turns his back on me and hurries into the room, the door clicking shut between us. I stand in the hallway, staring at the closed door. The wood is polished and hard. Lay low, I whisper to the empty corridor. I turn around and walk back to my palace. I will lay low. I will be invisible. And while I'm invisible, I will watch. And then, when the bill comes due, I will make sure they see me. The sun begins to dip low, painting the sky in bruises of purple and gold. I do not wait for them to come find me for dinner. I know they won't. They will assume I am eating a sandwich in my room or that I have fallen asleep. They will be relieved not to have to deal with the old woman at the table. I dress in a fresh silk caftan, slide on my oversized sunglasses, and make my way down to the resort's signature restaurant, the Azure. It is an open-air pavilion perched on the edge of the cliffs, where the sound of the crashing waves provides a dramatic soundtrack to the clinking of crystal and silver. I request a table in the shadows, tucked away in a corner where the palm fronds create a natural screen. From here, I have a perfect view of the center table, the best table in the house, where my family is currently holding court. They are loud. Caroline is already on her third glass of wine, her voice carrying over the gentle murmur of the other diners. I told the concierge, I don't care what the policy is. We need the cabana nearest the bar, she boasts, gesturing with her fork. And you should have seen him scramble. They know who runs things. Jessica laughs, a high tinkling sound that grates on my nerves. She is photographing her appetizer, shifting the plate to catch the candlelight. Ideally, we need the lighting to be better for tomorrow night. She says, Robert, make a note to tell the staff. Robert nods, tapping something into his phone. Sure, Jess. I'll tell them. I order a pot of herbal tea and a small salad. The waiter, a young man named David, places it gently before me. Everything is to your liking, madam, he whispers. He knows I'm the VIP in the presidential suite, even if I'm sitting in the shadows. It is perfect, thank you, I say. I watch as the waiter approaches my family's table. Caroline waves the wine list at him. We'll take the 98 Cabernet, she announces. 2 bottles, and bring the seafood tower, the big one. I happen to know that the 98 Cabernet is $400 a bottle. The seafood tower is $300. They are ordering with the reckless abandon of people who believe they have a limitless line of credit. And they do. Me. Excellent choice, the waiter says. It's a celebration after all, Caroline says loudly, glancing at a couple at the next table. My company had a record year. I figured I'd treat the whole family. My hand freezes on my teacup. She is lying. She is sitting there, drinking the wine I paid for, eating the food I provided, and telling strangers that it is her success that made this possible. Must be nice? The man at the next table says, impressed. What do you do? Logistics, Caroline says vaguely. Global supply chain management. It's very high stress, but, well, Family comes first, right? Family comes first, I whisper, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. I look at Robert. He knows she is lying. He knows Caroline's business is a struggling consulting firm that I have bailed out twice in the last 5 years. But he says nothing. He just pours himself more wine and looks at the ocean. I look at the grandchildren. They are bored, picking at the expensive lobster tails, their faces illuminated by the blue glow of their screens. They have no concept of the value of what is in front of them. To them, this is just another backdrop for their boredom. I sip my tea. It is cold. I realize then that the memories I wanted to create are already dead. This isn't a family reunion. It is a feeding frenzy. I am not the matriarch bringing them together. I am the carcass they are picking clean. Caroline raises her glass. To the good life. To the good life? Jessica echoes, clinking her glass against Caroline's. Robert raises his glass, but his eyes are empty. I signal David. Check, please, I whisper. Oh, madam, it is already taken care of, he says softly. Mr. Sato's instructions. Of course, I say. Thank you. I leave $100 bill on the table for David, cash from my own purse, and slip out the side exit. I walk back through the lush, scented gardens. The air is heavy with jasmine and the sound of frogs. It should be beautiful. It should be paradise. But as I walk, I feel a heat rising in my chest that has nothing to do with the tropical night. It is a slow, burning anger. They aren't just ungrateful. They are erasing me. They are rewriting reality to suit their ego, using my resources as the ink. I reach the elevators and press the button for the penthouse. Family comes first, I say again, testing the weight of the lie. The elevator doors slide open. I step in. The mirrored walls reflect a small, elderly woman in a linen dress, but the eyes staring back at me are not the eyes of a victim. They are the eyes of a CEO who has just discovered embezzlement in her own boardroom. I'm going to audit this family, and the findings are going to be brutal. The presidential suite is less a room and more a private kingdom. It is a sprawling expanse of koa wood, cool marble, and raw silk, with a living area larger than the entire ground floor of my home in Chicago. But its greatest luxury is the lanai. It is a massive wraparound terrace, complete with its own private plunge pool, a dining area, and a row of impossibly comfortable-looking chaise lounges. It offers a breathtaking 180-degree view of the bay, where the lush tropical reserve meets the pristine white sand beach. I stand by the railing, the warmth of the night air on my face, trying to reclaim the peace I felt earlier. This is my world. A world of quiet, considered beauty that I built for myself. A world my family knows nothing about. And then their voices intrude. A harsh, grating sound shatters the tranquility. They are on the lanai of the adjacent suite, so close I could toss a plumeria blossom and hit them. It is Caroline and Jessica. They must have been given the suites right next to mine, a detail of logistics that now seems like a cruel twist of fate. I step back into the shadows of a large leafy palm, invisible in the darkness. They are lounging on their own chaises, glasses of what looks like champagne in their hands. Their voices are sharp, with the casual cruelty of people who believe they are speaking in private. "Can you believe her?" Caroline is saying, her voice a low, venomous hiss. Just sitting there in the lobby like a lost puppy. It was so embarrassing. What must people have thought? I know, Jessica replies, her voice dripping with disdain. And that awful cardigan. It smelled like mothballs and sadness. She lets out a short, sharp laugh. I look down at my dress. It is pure Italian linen. It smells of lavender detergent. Honestly, Caroline, this trip is the perfect opportunity. Jessica continues. You have to do it. I know, Caroline says, her voice dropping lower, becoming conspiratorial. Michael, I mean, Robert, is just so weak about it. He gets all sentimental. She's our mother, Caroline. She mimics her brother's voice, a cruel, whiny caricature. Robert's a coward, Jessica states flatly. He doesn't understand the big picture. We're the ones who have to deal with her for the next 10, 20 years. We need to get things in order now, while she's still manageable. A cold, heavy dread begins to pool in the pit of my stomach. I stand frozen, listening to the casual dissection of my future. This is the chance, Caroline says, her voice gaining a new predatory energy. She's just had that big health scare last year. She's obviously confused. Her memory is failing. Did you see the look on her face when we arrived? Completely overwhelmed. We just need to sit her down, Jessica says. Tell her it's for her own good, for her own protection. I hear the rustle of paper. Through the leaves, I see Caroline reach into her tote bag and pull out a thick blue folder. She tosses it onto the table between them. A simple power of attorney, Caroline says. I had my lawyer draft it up before we left. It gives me full control over her medical and financial decisions. She won't even read the fine print. The words hit me with physical force. Power of attorney. They think I am senile. They see my quietness as confusion, my patience as weakness. They are planning to use this trip, this gift that I am giving them, as the stage for a legal coup. Once we have that, Jessica says, a greedy, triumphant note in her voice, we can handle everything. Sell the house, manage her accounts. It will be so much easier for everyone. For us, Caroline corrects her. Easier for us. Exactly. And with the equity from her house, well, that solves your liquidity problem for the firm, doesn't it? It does, Caroline admits. And it pays off your credit cards. I stand on my magnificent lanai in my palace in the sky, and I listen to my daughter and my daughter-in-law plot the end of my life as I know it. The pain is so profound, so absolute, it transcends tears. It is a cold, hollow ache in the center of my being. The woman they are describing, this confused, frail, burdensome old creature, is a fiction they have created to justify their own greed. They don't see me at all. They see a problem to be solved and an estate to be seized. They want to put me in a cage, a comfortable, well-managed cage, so they can be free of the burden of my existence and flush with my money. My quiet sadness, the gentle disappointment I had harbored for years, finally burns away in the fire of this ultimate betrayal. And in its place, something new is forged. It is a cold, hard, and utterly unyielding resolve. I had spent my life building things, a company, a fortune, a family. 2 of those things had been a spectacular success. 1 had been a catastrophic failure. They want to take control. They want to manage my affairs. Fine. I will let them. But they are about to find out that the estate they are plotting to seize is a world beyond their wildest imaginings. And the woman they have written off as a confused old lady is about to teach them a lesson in power that they will never forget. I look at the blue folder sitting on the table next door. It is a declaration of war. I step back into my suite and lock the glass door. The slide of the bolt is a heavy, decisive sound. You wanted to manage my assets, I whisper to the cool, empty room. I have decided to liquidate your access. The next morning, I wake with a sense of clarity I haven't felt in years. The emotional fog of maternal disappointment has lifted, burned away by the harsh, clarifying light of my children's treachery. I'm no longer a mother hoping for connection. I'm a CEO facing a hostile takeover attempt, and I know exactly how to handle it. I bypassed the opulent breakfast buffet in the main dining hall, knowing it would be a chaotic circus of my family gorging themselves on the complimentary feast. Instead, I have a quiet, simple breakfast of fruit and coffee sent up to my suite. While I eat, I make a call. "David," I say when he answers. "It's Eleanor. I need to see you privately." We meet in his quiet, elegant office. He greets me with his usual professional warmth, but his eyes are full of a quiet concern. The staff at a hotel like this are trained observers of human nature. He knows the difference between a happy family reunion and the strained, dysfunctional performance my family is putting on. "Madame Eleanor," he says, gesturing for me to sit. "How can I be of service?" "I need to see the ledger, Kenji," I say, getting straight to the point. "I need to know exactly what my family has been up to in the last 24 hours. And I need you to be completely candid." He hesitates for a moment, the professional mask of discretion firmly in place. "Our guests are enjoying the resort's amenities to the fullest," he says diplomatically. "Kenji," I say, my voice gentle but firm. "I am not just a guest. I am the one who owns the master account to which all those amenities are being charged. I need to know what I am paying for, not just in dollars, but in behavior." He understands. He gives a slight, solemn nod. He turns to his computer and brings up the file for the North Wing. His face remains impassive, but the details he begins to relay paint an ugly picture. "Your daughter, Mrs. Caroline, has been very vocal," he begins. "She has complained about the thread count of the sheets, the temperature of the swimming pool, and the ripeness of the pineapple at breakfast. She demanded a room change for your grandson because his view was partially obstructed by a hibiscus bush." I close my eyes, a familiar wave of shame washing over me. Caroline has always been this way, a woman who believes the world owes her a constant, uninterrupted stream of perfection. "Your son, Mr. Robert, and his wife, Jessica, have been frequent visitors to the poolside bar," he continues, his gaze fixed on the screen. "They have run up a significant tab on premium cocktails. Miss Jessica also had an emergency after-hours appointment at the spa last night to repair a chipped nail on her manicure." He pauses, tapping a key. "She insisted the spa director be woken up to attend to her personally. The charge for that emergency service alone was $900. $900 for a chipped nail. My son, my quiet, passive Robert, is being led by the nose by his materialistic wife, both of them indulging in a fantasy of wealth they have not earned, all on my dime. They have all been demanding," Mr. Sato concludes, choosing his words with care. "They treat the staff not as hospitality professionals, but as their personal servants. There have been several complaints from my team about their condescending tone and their lack of basic courtesy." He pauses, then adds one final detail. "And they have charged a rather staggering amount in the gift shop. Designer sunglasses, perfumes, resort wear. The total for the retail charges is just over $10,000 in the first 12 hours. $10,000. They are locusts stripping the land bare, consuming everything they can simply because it is there, because it is free. They feel no gratitude, only a bottomless, grasping entitlement. The information, as distasteful as it is exactly what I need. It solidifies my resolve. My children are not just disrespectful, they are parasitic. They are using me, my generosity, my love, as a resource to be exploited until it is exhausted." "Thank you, Kenji," I say, my voice calm. "You have been very helpful. There is one more thing." I lean forward, my gaze meeting his. "Tomorrow morning, there is a yacht excursion planned for my family, the Serafina." "Yes, Madame Eleanor, a full-day charter. It is the highlight of their itinerary." "I see," I say. "They are looking forward to it, then?" "Very much so," he confirms. "Your daughter has mentioned it to the concierge several times." She has been bragging about it to other guests. Of course she has. Caroline has likely been posting about her exclusive private yacht all over her social media, curating an image of a life she wasn't actually living. The yacht is the centerpiece of her performance, the ultimate status symbol. It is the main event. I stand up. My decision is made. The last flicker of maternal sentiment has been extinguished. My children abandoned me emotionally years ago. They abandoned me physically in this very lobby yesterday. And last night, I learned they are plotting to abandon me legally and financially via a power of attorney. It is time for me to return the favor. I look at Mr. Sato, a man whose quiet professionalism and decency stands in stark, shameful contrast to the behavior of my own flesh and blood. Kenji, I say, a new steely authority in my voice, I'm going to require your assistance tonight. There are going to be some changes to the itinerary. Name it, madame. Effective tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., I say, watching the sunlight play on the water outside. I want you to cancel everything. His expression does not change, but I see a flicker of something in his eyes. Not surprise, but a deep, quiet understanding. All of it, I continue, my voice steady and clear. First, the room keys for all 7 of the suites in the north wing are to be deactivated, precisely at 7, not a minute before, not a minute after. He makes a small note on a pad on his desk. Deactivate keys. 7 a.m. Understood. Second, the prepaid status for all meals, drinks, and activities is to be revoked. As of 7 a.m., they are no longer my guests. They are standard hotel patrons responsible for their own charges. Revoke complimentary status. Of course. Third, the yacht charter for the Serafina is to be canceled. Please inform the captain that his services will not be required by the Miller family. I look out the window at the beautiful sleeping boat in the harbor. In fact, I add, a new delicious idea blooming in my mind. I would like to rebook the yacht, for a party of 1, for myself, for the entire day. A small, almost imperceptible smile touches the corners of Mr. Sato's lips. An excellent choice, Madame Eleanor. The chef will be delighted. And finally, I say, taking a deep breath and delivering the final decisive blow. I want you to close my master account. Close it, Madame? As of 7 a.m., I'm no longer financially responsible for anyone in this resort but myself. I will settle my own bill for the presidential suite separately with my personal credit card. You will then prepare itemized bills for each of the other 7 suites. I lean over the desk, ensuring he hears every word. They are to be charged the full rack rate for their one-night stay, plus every single extravagant, overpriced item they have charged to their rooms. The spa treatments, the $900 nail repair, the $10,000 in sunglasses and perfume, everything. I pause, letting the weight of my instructions settle in the quiet room. When my family comes down to the lobby tomorrow morning, and they will come down in a state of considerable confusion and distress, you will present them with their bills, and you will politely inform them that they have 1 hour to settle their accounts and check out of the resort. Mr. Sato finishes his notes and looks up at me. His face is a perfect mask of professional composure, but his eyes, for the first time, hold a gleam of something that looks very much like admiration. It will be my absolute pleasure to carry out your instructions, Madame Eleanor. The first sign that their perfect world has begun to unravel comes at precisely 7:01 a.m. I am already awake, of course, sitting on my lanai in a comfortable robe, sipping a cup of rich Kona coffee and watching the sky lighten over the Pacific. I hear a door open on an adjoining lanai, followed by the irritated voice of my eldest grandson, a boy of 16, who has the same entitled tone as his mother. "Mom, the Wi-Fi is down!" he yells back into his room. I can't stream the game. A moment later, Caroline's sharp, annoyed voice replies, just call the front desk and have them fix it. Honestly, this place. I hear the click of the phone in his room being picked up, followed by a moment of silence, and then the frustrated clatter of it being slammed back down. The phone's dead, he shouts. A small smile touches my lips. The phones in the rooms run on the same system as the key cards. No key, no phone, no Wi-Fi. The first thread has been pulled. Over the next hour, a symphony of chaos begins to build from the north wing. I sit in my private box seat and listen to the music of consequences. I hear doors banging as my family members attempt to leave their rooms, only to discover the locks won't engage or disengage properly without the active key codes. I hear loud, angry voices echoing down the hallways as they realize their phones are useless bricks. At around 8 a.m., the real mayhem begins. I picture Jessica wrapping herself in a fluffy hotel robe, marching down to the spa for her morning facial. I imagine the scene as she approaches the glass doors. She would breeze in, expecting the fawning service she received last night. I'm here for my 8 a.m., she would say, extending a hand that still bears the $900 repair. And the receptionist, checking the system, would frown. I'm sorry, Mrs. Miller. The card on file has been removed. We cannot proceed with the treatment without a valid form of payment. Removed? Jessica would screech. It's on the master account. My mother-in-law pays for everything. I'm afraid that account is closed, ma'am. I imagine Caroline trying to enter the exclusive breakfast buffet, her children in tow, eager for pancakes and tropical fruit. The hostess, holding a clipboard, would offer a polite but firm smile. Room number? 704, Caroline would snap. I'm sorry. 704 shows as checkout pending. We cannot seat you. Checkout? We are here for a week. I recommend you speak to the front desk, ma'am. The beautiful, serene paradise I provided for them has become a gilded cage. They are trapped in their luxurious rooms, or if they stepped out, locked out in the hallways, with no phones, no room service, and no escape. The only path open to them is the long, ignominious walk down to the main lobby to demand an explanation. I take my time. I have a long, leisurely shower. I dress in a simple but elegant white sundress and a wide-brimmed straw hat. I pack a small tote bag with a book, sunscreen, and a pair of sunglasses, my own, bought years ago, not part of the $10,000 loot they grabbed yesterday. I'm a woman preparing for a day of peaceful solitude on her private yacht. At around 9 a.m., I make my way down to the fine dining restaurant, a beautiful open-air pavilion that overlooks the lobby. I take a quiet table for one in the corner and order a fresh pot of coffee and a croissant. From my vantage point, I have a perfect unobstructed view of the main lobby and the front desk. And then they begin to arrive. It is a slow, pathetic trickle at first, which quickly grows into a chaotic, furious mob. They are a vision of disheveled, entitled rage. Caroline is in a silk pajama set, her hair a wild, tousled mess, her face a mask of thunderous indignation. Robert trails behind her, wearing only a pair of hotel slippers and a bathrobe tied hastily around his waist, his face pale with anxiety. Jessica, ever conscious of her image, has managed to put on a sundress, but her bare feet and the furious look on her face ruin the effect. The teenagers are a sullen, pouting cluster of misery, their faces buried in their dead phones as if mourning a lost pet. They descend on the front desk like a horde of angry wasps, all talking at once, demanding, shouting, gesticulating wildly. Our keys don't work. What's wrong with the phones? They wouldn't let us into breakfast. My massage was canceled. Through it all, the front desk staff remains impeccably calm. Their faces are serene masks of professional politeness. They weather the storm of indignation, occasionally murmuring a soft, "One moment, please," or "I understand your frustration." And then Mr. Sato appears. He emerges from his office, a figure of calm, quiet authority. He holds a stack of leather-bound bill folios in his hand. He glides to the center of the check-in desk, his presence immediately silencing the cacophony. "Good morning," he says, his voice quiet, but carrying an unmistakable air of command. My family freezes. Caroline steps forward, her finger pointing like a dagger. You're the manager? What the hell is going on here?" Mr. Sato places the stack of folios on the marble counter. He looks at them, not with fear, but with the cool detachment of a judge delivering a verdict. "I believe I can assist you," he says. The lobby is silent. The air is thick with tension, the kind that precedes a tropical storm. Mr. Sato begins to address them one by one, his tone a perfect, chilling blend of politeness and absolute finality. "Mrs. Caroline," he says, handing her the first folio. "Here is the bill for your one-night stay in the oceanfront suite, along with your incidental charges." Caroline takes the folder automatically, her brow furrowing. "Bill? We don't have a bill. This is all prepaid." "Mr. and Mrs. Miller," he continues, handing another folio to Robert and Jessica. "Your account summary." He distributes the bills to each of the bewildered, furious family units. They stare down at the papers in their hands. I watch as their eyes scan the lines. I watch as the color drains from their faces. Their expressions shift from anger to utter, slack-jawed disbelief. They are seeing, for the first time, the true astronomical cost of the luxury they have taken for granted. The thousands of dollars for the rooms, the hundreds for the poolside Mai Tais, the $900 for the nail repair, the $10,000 shopping spree. "What is this?" Caroline finally sputters, her voice a strangled squeak. She flips the page, her hand trembling. This is insane. There's a mistake. Everything is supposed to be complimentary. It's all part of the package." "I'm afraid there is no package, madam," Mr. Sato replies, his voice smooth as silk. "The complimentary arrangements for your stay were concluded this morning at 7 a.m., he says. He pauses, letting the words sink in. "As per the instructions of the account holder who made those arrangements." A collective stunned silence falls over the group. They all look at each other, their faces a comical picture of confusion. "The account holder?" Jessica asks, looking at Robert. "You mean the travel agent?" "No," Robert says, shaking his head. "I didn't use an agent." "Then who?" Caroline demands. "Who turned off the money?" They have no idea. They have simply assumed this was their due. A gift from the universe. And at that moment, I choose to make my entrance. I calmly finish the last of my coffee. I blot my lips with my linen napkin. I leave a generous tip on the table, cash from my own wallet. I stand up. With slow, deliberate grace, I walk from the serene quiet of the restaurant, down the wide, sweeping staircase, into the chaotic, simmering cauldron of the lobby. My sandals make a soft, rhythmic slapping sound on the polished koa wood floor. Slap, slap, slap. One by one, heads turn. First the bellhops, then the guests, and finally, my family. They stare at me. Their mouths hang slightly agape. I'm a vision of serene elegance, a woman in white linen and a straw hat, an alien creature from a different, more peaceful world. Caroline is the first to find her voice. It is a raw, disbelieving shriek. "Mother?" She looks at me, then at the stairs, then back at me. "What are you doing here? What is going on?" I do not stop. I walk directly toward the front desk, moving through the invisible barrier that separates the VIPs from the problem guests. I come to a stop beside the impeccably composed Mr. Sato. I turn to face them. I look at the disheveled, furious faces of my children. I look at the itemized bills for their own gluttony clutched in their hands. I look at the blue folder peeking out of Caroline's tote bag, the power of attorney she planned to force on me. I feel nothing but a cool, quiet sense of finality. I give them a small, serene smile. "Good morning, everyone," I say, my voice clear and steady. "I was just enjoying a lovely, peaceful breakfast. You all look terribly stressed." The scene at the front desk is a masterpiece of controlled chaos. My family stands there, a pathetic, disheveled tableau of impotent rage, clutching the leather-bound bills as if they are poisonous snakes. Their faces, just yesterday so full of smug, triumphant greed, are now pale masks of disbelief and dawning horror. They look at me, then at the bills, then back at me, their minds struggling to connect the dots, to process a reality that is so far outside their comprehension. "Mother, what have you done?" Caroline demands, her voice a raw, ragged shriek. She waves her bill in the air, the paper trembling with the force of her fury. "They're trying to charge us for everything. There's been some kind of mistake." "There is no mistake, Caroline," I say, my voice calm and even. I look at each of them in turn. My gaze lingers for a moment on my son, Robert, who is staring at the floor, unable to meet my eyes. "The mistake," I continue, "was believing that this was all yours for the taking, with no thought for the person who was providing it." A wave of confused murmuring goes through the group. "Providing it?" Jessica scoffs, finding her voice. She crosses her arms, the $900 nail glinting under the lobby lights. "What are you talking about? Robert arranged this trip. He's been saving up for months." She looks at Robert for confirmation, but he just continues to study the intricate patterns of the koa wood floor. He shrinks into his bathrobe. I almost laugh. The lie is so ingrained in their reality that they can't see the simple, glaring truth. They had constructed a fantasy in which Robert was the successful provider and I was the dependent, burdensome mother. It was a fantasy that allowed them to justify their greed, to rationalize their cruel, dismissive treatment of me. "No, Jessica," I say gently. "Robert did not arrange this trip." I take a step forward. "I did." A stunned, absolute silence falls over the lobby. Even the bellhops pause their work, sensing the dramatic crescendo of the scene. "I paid for it all," I continue, my voice clear and steady, each word a carefully placed stone in the foundation of their new reality. "I paid for your first-class plane tickets. I paid for the 7 oceanfront suites in the private wing. I paid for the champagne you've been drinking and the spa treatments you demanded. I paid for the private yacht you were so looking forward to." I pause, letting the full weight of my statement settle upon them. I paid for everything because I had hoped, foolishly, that a grand gesture of love might remind you what it felt like to be a family. Caroline stares at me, her mouth opening and closing silently. She looks at the bill in her hand, at the staggering 5-figure sum for a single night of indulgence. And the truth, the impossible, world-shattering truth, finally begins to dawn on her. "But how?" she stammers. "Your pension, the house. You have never once in all your adult lives asked me a single substantive question about my life or my finances," I say. The quiet sadness in my voice is now edged with sharp, whetted steel. "You saw what you wanted to see. A lonely old woman with a modest inheritance. A woman you needed to manage." My eyes flick to her tote bag, to the blue folder. "You were so busy planning to take control of my small, imagined fortune that you never bothered to look at the woman standing right in front of you." I take a step closer, my gaze locking with hers. "You were worried about my failing memory, Caroline. You were so concerned about my confusion, my inability to make sound decisions." I let a small, cold smile touch my lips. "Well, Last night I had a moment of profound clarity. I point to the bills. You abandoned me in this lobby, so I have abandoned this arrangement. I lean in, my voice dropping to a quiet final note that only they can hear. You were so eager to get your hands on my power of attorney. You wanted the power to make decisions for me. I gesture to the lobby, to the bills, to the exits. So I have made one. I straighten up, regaining my full height. Your first major financial decision of the day is figuring out how to pay for that. I look at the $10,000 total on the summary sheet Caroline is holding. Mr. Sato tells me checkout is in less than an hour. I suggest you get started. I hear the interest rates on cash advances can be quite steep. And with that, I turn my back on them. I turn my back on the wreckage of my family, on their shocked, horrified faces, on the pathetic, sputtering beginnings of their arguments and accusations. I walk toward the main entrance of the resort, where a private car arranged by Mr. Sato is waiting for me. Mother, wait, Robert calls out. A weak, desperate sound. I do not wait. The final scene, as I see it, is a perfect silent tableau of poetic justice. As I step out into the warm, beautiful Hawaiian morning, the concierge is politely but firmly informing Caroline that yes, the hotel does have a payment plan option, but it would require a significant down payment immediately. I see Jessica on her phone through the glass doors, tears streaming down her face, likely begging her own parents for a loan to cover the $10,000 shopping spree she just committed. Robert is still staring at the floor. A man completely and utterly defeated, not by a powerful adversary, but by his own profound weakness. They are trapped, stranded in a paradise they took for granted, faced with a bill they cannot possibly pay, and stripped of the one person they always assumed would be their eternal safety net. A young man in a crisp white uniform meets me at the curb. He opens the door of the sleek black sedan. This way to the marina, Madame Eleanor, he says with a warm smile. The Serafina is waiting for you. I get into the car without a backward glance. The drive to the marina is short. The air fills with the scent of the sea. The Serafina is even more magnificent up close. A gleaming white vessel of impossible luxury, bobbing gently in the turquoise water. It is a boat meant for a party of 12. Today, it belongs only to me. The captain and his crew of 3 are waiting on the dock to greet me. They are lined up in their whites, respectful and welcoming. Welcome aboard, madame, the captain says, offering me a hand as I step onto the teak deck. We have a beautiful course plotted for today. The chef has prepared a light lunch of grilled mahi-mahi. That sounds wonderful, Captain, I say. I feel a lightness in my chest that I haven't felt in decades. It is the absence of weight, the absence of the constant, grinding burden of trying to please people who cannot be pleased. A few minutes later, the powerful engines hum to life. The yacht begins to pull away from the dock, gliding smoothly out into the open waters of the Pacific. I stand on the bow, the warm wind in my hair, the sun a gentle caress on my face. In the distance, the azure horizon resort is a pale, shimmering jewel against the lush green of the volcanic hills. Somewhere inside that jewel, my family is currently negotiating the terms of their surrender. They will figure it out, eventually. Caroline will max out her credit cards. Robert will dip into his 401k. They will fly home in economy, sitting in the middle seats, nursing their hangovers and their resentments. But they will never forget. They will never look at me the same way again. And more importantly, they will never look at themselves the same way again. I sip the glass of chilled champagne the stewardess hands me. I look out at the endless blue horizon. My sadness is gone. The loneliness is gone. I am alone. Yes. But for the first time in a very long time, I am not lonely. I am free. I raise my glass in a silent toast. To myself, to the woman I was, who loved too much, and to the woman I am now, who knows exactly what she is worth. The future is no longer defined by the expectations and disappointments of others. It is defined by the quiet, steady rhythm of the tides and the vast, open expanse of the sea ahead. For the first time in my life, I am the captain of my own ship, and the view is spectacular. If this story resonated with you, leave a like and consider subscribing. You can also drop any comment below, even just one word. Maybe tell me where you're watching from, or what time it is right now. Sometimes one word is enough to say you are here.